I think it's never been more important than it is right now to operate from a prosperity consciousness as we grow our self-storage business, or we grow any business. As business owners and storage developers, a prosperity consciousness is what I suggest will make the difference in your success in the self-storage business. Let's talk about how to create a prosperity consciousness. My name is Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Self-Storage Quick Start Academy. And what I do is I support the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to grow their self-storage business, strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. Check out the training I have for the small investor at creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com or quickstartacademy.com. And what in reality, people operate somewhere on the spectrum. At one end of the spectrum, we'll call it a prosperity consciousness. At the other end of the spectrum, let's call it scarcity consciousness. And I propose that most of us operate somewhere towards the latter end, closer to the scarcity consciousness, and that's what makes possible our success in anything we take on, but particularly in business where it deals with money and finance and wealth. I also suggest that most of us are really never that present to what our belief system is around money and success. There is one that you have, and it's always running. It's always in the background, and it is that belief system, that context in which the world happens to you, the world occurs to you, that totally creates what's possible for you and your business as you move through the world. Now, I know that may sound silly to many of you, but the context is decisive. The context creates what's possible in any area of life. So let's say that as a person you had a context called blue and green. In other words, you could only see blues and greens. Well, yellow's a possibility in that context. Obviously blue and green are, but orange isn't a possibility. It doesn't even show up for you. All reds, you can't see them inside a context called blue and green. The context creates the boundaries of what's possible. We all have a belief system around success and money, and for the most part, it's totally undistinguished. But yet, it limits and defines what's possible for you and for me in life. So when we start creating businesses and working to specifically create wealth, don't you think it would make sense to really distinguish and flush out what is your belief system around success and money? Now, I know this goes against most traditional thinking, and very few people sit around talking and thinking about what are my real belief systems. But let's, for now, just suspend whatever doubts and conversations you're having about this and just go with this episode for a minute. The context is everything. It defines what's possible. And for us, our belief systems, for the most part, create the context that we're talking about. That's why, for example, when Columbus landed in the West Indies, the indigenous people on the island could not even see, for the most part, the ships that were right there in the harbor. They did not have a context for boats that big, so they literally couldn't see them. That's why two people that I may be working with doing the exact same thing, taking the exact same steps, building a self-storage business, one can be successful and the other won't. Now, I don't believe that it's personal to us. I don't believe there's anything wrong with us. The fact that most of us, most of the time, are operating close to the scarcity consciousness or lower on the prosperity scarcity continuum, it's not like we're bad or something's wrong. All of us are born into a culture. We're born into a particular time in history. For us, in Western culture, this particular time in history, Judo-Christian work ethic and background kind of running in the background. And there's a set of beliefs, a conversation that already exists for the most part that we're born into. So we're born into a belief system on all kinds of things, but especially around money and success. And most of us never really distinguish it or talk about it or think about it, but there is a conversation that we're born into that begins to shape our beliefs at a very young age. Most of the beliefs that we have were formed at a very young age, especially around things like money, success, what's good and what's bad. Most likely you heard it from your parents or from an adult that had influence over you, your teachers, and you heard and saw modeled activity and beliefs that were coming from a scarcity mindset. The echoes, the traces of a scarcity mindset show up in conversations and phrases like, work is hard, life is hard, money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, I can't afford that, there's not enough money, or there's not enough time, or there's not enough whatever resource plug in there. Rich people are bad. Rich people are dishonest. Billionaires probably screwed people over and are dishonest if they've got that much money. And on it can go. Now, if you begin to react to anything or begin to argue or defend a thought or position you had, I'm not saying that you're not right. I'm just requesting for the next couple of minutes, suspend it, let it sit there, and just go with me as we go down this rabbit hole towards creating a prosperity consciousness. For the most part, you did not create whatever your belief systems are. You saw them acted out, you heard them over and over again, and slowly an unconscious belief system around money and wealth and success and people with lots of money began to form, and primarily it was formed as a very young person. Then we go out and we work in the world and we do whatever we're doing, and then we get to the point where we're creating a self-storage business, and all of a sudden we're focused on creating money and wealth and something bigger than where we are now, and there's some belief system running in the background that's thwarting what we're up to in life. That's why if you've ever had the nagging thought that, gosh, maybe this won't work either, like some of the other stuff I've done, or when something happens like a loan is turned down or something's dragging out, the experience of here it goes again over and over. If you ever have those type of experiences, then very often what's happening is you have an undistinguished belief system that's running in the background. But again, it's not personal to you. You didn't create it. You were born into it. But I suggest it just doesn't serve us very well anymore. I think that the scarcity consciousness that's there for us as human beings is literally a byproduct of our evolution. For millennia, we developed as a species in an environment that was extremely hostile, and at any given moment something could happen that would literally kill us. Now over time, as our species evolved and our brain power increased, we began to be able to control the environment in which we live to a large degree, to the point where we are now. Our environment and our world is a lot safer now than it was when we first began to show up as humans on the planet. But yet that old reptilian brain is still there. That part of the brain real close to the brainstem that is the fight or flight part of our existence, of our experiences as people, that is still there, and it still operates as it did when our species first started walking on the planet. That's the part of us that is scared. That's the part of us that says, if you win, then I must lose. I've got to get what I can get. That's the part of us that has our heart racing and our palms sweaty, and we get that call from the loan officer that they haven't approved the loan yet, or they're not going to approve it, and all of a sudden that fear, that anxiety is instantly there. That is a carryover from our evolutionary process. It's just hardwired into our brains. Now our body reacts as if we're in physical danger, but we're not in physical danger. You're not going to die from losing money. You're not going to die from not having a loan approved. But yet the experience physically and to a large degree emotionally is the same as it would be as if we were in physical danger. Now, we never really question that. Obviously, what's causing our experience and our anxiety is we're going to lose the deal. The loan didn't get approved. And we never really question what is going on in the background to cause that. And so it just occurs like it's true. There's a limited amount of resources here. If somebody wins, then I'm going to lose. If the seller thinks he's got a good price from me on this deal I'm offering, that means I paid too much and I got screwed. If the seller's not upset, then I paid too much. That all comes from a scarcity consciousness. And God help the person that begins to really win at the game of money and finance, because all of a sudden he begins to show up for the majority of people as a bad person. That's why people don't like rich people. There's a lot of society out there that doesn't trust and like, quote, rich people. Now, all of that is stemming from a scarcity belief system that is running in the background and for the most part undistinguished. So let's talk about abundance. You know, I've worked with a lot of people, and I see many with undistinguished, disempowering beliefs that literally are defining what's possible for them. But here's the secret. You can create anything. Any context you want, you can create one. So if you don't think your belief system is serving you, you can create a new one. And how do you know? How will you know if your belief system is serving you? Well, if you have everything you've ever strived for in life, then it's serving you. If life occurs as a struggle and it's a constant uphill battle, consider your belief systems are not serving you. Here's one. Here's a powerful context. Just try this on. We as human beings, our minds are the most powerful thing there is in the physical world. Literally, as a young child, we can create a thought, a belief, and that belief will create what's possible for us all through our lives. That's the power that our mind, our thoughts have. That a young child can create a thought, and for the rest of that person's life, it can create what's possible for them. That's a powerful mind. See, I look at the universe, and I see life expanding everywhere and becoming all it can be. The galaxies are expanding at the speed of light in every direction. Grass, life is trying to pop out in a crack in the sidewalk. Anywhere possible, life is expanding and becoming all it can be. The natural state of life is to become all it can be, to expand and become more. And as human beings, we are life. We are life expressing itself in human form right now. Our natural state is to become all we can be, to always be expanding, to always be becoming more, becoming a better version of ourselves. That's the natural state. Anything other than that is not natural. Now, is that true? I don't know. If I create it as a belief system, it's true for me. And that begins to define and create what's possible for me. As I've said in the past, I'm really not that interested in what is, quote, the truth. I'm interested in what empowers me, what supports me in playing the games that I'm up to in life, and creating a context called my natural state is to become all I can be, and to be expanding and always becoming a better version of myself. That is a belief and a context which supports what I'm up to as I grow my businesses. You know, I look into the world and I don't see scarcity anywhere. Sure, there may be a drought on planet Earth in some place, but in another place there's an abundance of rainfall. A drought isn't a problem for the planet. A drought is only a problem for a human being in their thinking. Scarcity only exists in the human mind. You can't look on the wall and see scarcity. It's not a thing. It is a thought in a human being's mind. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that is what I've created is true for me, and it supports me and what I'm up to in life. So as entrepreneurs, it's critical for us to take responsibility for our thinking. Now, most of us operate in life with undistinguished belief systems. Now, you just can't create anything on top of a belief system that's been there for 30, 40 years and expect overnight life to change. What's critical is that we distinguish, we actually look and see what is our real belief system. And the way you do it is you look at the results you've had in life. I suggest, if you haven't done this work before, sit down and write like a story, a history of your belief system around money and success and winning at the game of life. And just write out what's there for you, your history with money, your history with success. And I promise you, well, real quickly, you'll begin to distinguish, to see, well, this, and this have happened over time. Every time I've tried to start something, I get so far and I get stopped. Then there's a limit on what's possible. And once you distinguish what it is, it doesn't mean you're bad. Believe me, everyone has it. We're born into it. It's there when you were born. You just took it on. But now, by distinguishing it, we can take responsibility for it. And once you distinguish what your belief system is, then you can create whatever you want. Create something that inspires you, that lights you up. And then I suggest your experience of creating a business, operating in life, and especially creating a self-storage business will be very different. A prosperity or an abundance mindset could be exactly what you need right now to take your business to the next level. That's what I love about being an entrepreneur. We get the opportunity to live a self-reflective life and to break ourselves up and reinvent ourselves to go to the next level. And we get to do that over and over again. And we can grow as far as we want in life by being responsible for our thinking and being responsible for what we take on as a belief. The majority of people never do that type of work. That's how you create true wealth and a fulfilling career in the self-storage business. Thank you. My name's Mark Helm. I look forward to being with you next week. and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. That's the financial analysis tool we use to project the cash flows on the storage projects that we're considering building, expanding, and looking at. If you're not using it, it's a powerful tool we use literally almost every day. If you're not using it, check it out. StorageWorldAnalyzer.com or Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and hit the Storage World Analyzer tab. Thank you. I look forward to being with you next week as we dive deep into feasibility reports. Talk to you then.